Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance. They were number 14.
Welcome, everyone, to this week's edition of Sports Shorts, presented by LaBerge Casino. Ronnie Rance here with you, alongside Joel Davis here in the studios in Baton Rouge. A big couple of weeks to prepare as LSU on top of the mountain, number one in the AP poll. It was funny, Joe. Yesterday at the Saints game, the word comes out that LSU is number one in the country in the AP poll. Some other polls, people acted like the Tigers won a national championship. Slow your roll. Yeah, doesn't make a difference. One or two doesn't. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out on November 9th whether LSU deserves to be number one or not. I mean, they deserve to be because they've played the toughest schedule right now. But we're going to find out if they're legit number one on November 9th. Between now and then, LSU has had a great season, but they haven't gotten over the hump yet. But most people think it's the best chance they've had in many, many years. We'll talk some New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees makes his return. I believe he forced his way back onto the field. He looked great in doing so. We'll talk about that. Nolan Cain will join us on the phone. We'll get a little update from him as LSU baseball's in full swing. They played UNO on Sunday. They've got the Nichols Colonels coming up in Thibodaux on Sunday, November the 3rd. That game will be on CST. We'll hear from him. I'll give a little update on where LSU, who will be ranked in the top 10 in the country, how they're looking so far. And we'll visit with Jacob Hester. Will join us in the last part of the show, talk some LSU Auburn and LSU Alabama. But let's bring in a guy who, if he doesn't look familiar, his name is Joel Davis. You can give him a follow at did you change your handle, or is it still? It's at JD Sports 04. So give him a follow on Twitter, at JD Sports 04. 3 parts politics to every 1 part sports. But he's a good follow on Twitter. Looking good, sir. Welcome back to the studio. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Got my Red Zone gear on. It's that time of year, winding down 2019's football season with our fundraisers. Now starting to prepare for 2020, baseball, softball. So we're getting ready. But in the meantime, when Red Zone starts slowing down, guess what Joel starts doing? Really, I focus on a lot of football. Focus on a lot of football, Ronnie.
So you're going to have some good thoughts
I have some good takes
info?
because I've got clarity right now. I've got clarity. And 2 things. It is good to be a South Louisiana football fan. Again, it was good last year. It's good again this year. You have no idea how blessed we are. Do you remember the days when you just were mad till Thursday? I mean, I remember the days where you were just mad till Thursday. Right. Like it would literally ruin the beginning of your week. Now, I will say this. Well, people like to complain. Complaining can be therapeutic in a way, they say. I don't like to complain. So this is great for me because I have nothing to complain about except the fact that the Saints need to get a pass catcher.
You just complained about something.
They need to get a pass catcher. That's
called complaining.
They need to find someone to add to the fold, just so when it gets into the playoffs and they're playing much better teams, they're going to need another guy. They're not going to be able to depend on a wheel route from Taysom Hill. They're not going to be able to depend.
Why not, though? He's a pretty good athlete.
Because they're going to have players that can shut that down. That's why. The Cardinals can't shut that down. They're not very good. Reddick is not ready for that. So at the end of the day, when they're playing better teams, when they're playing the San Francisco's defense, by the way, who are really stinking good, when they're going to be playing those guys potentially in San Francisco or potentially in New Orleans in the playoffs.
They're going to play them in New Orleans in the regular season.
Right.
And you win that game, you got home field if you win out.
Well, they gotta win out. And if you look at their schedule, very doable.
49ers are going to lose. The Seattle's going to clip them.
Yeah, no, they're going to lose.
Rams are going to clip them. Somebody else is going to clip them.
Their schedule has been fairly on their side early. And now the Saints' schedule is starting to be on their side. Mm-hmm. At the beginning of the year, it was like this gauntlet, right? You didn't know who you were playing. Now it's starting to look at some of these teams, and maybe they're not as good as you thought they were, like the Bears. We broke the Bears, by the way. We beat the Bears last week. We destroyed them.
They missed the field goal this week.
And then they're broken. They're broken. So at the end of the day, you're going to play teams in the playoffs that are really, really good, and they have to be prepared for that. And they have to get a pass catcher. They need to get a number 2. They don't have a number 2 right now, Ronnie. They don't. I don't care who's number 2.
There was a rumor last week.
There's
that
a
the
rumor
Saints
about
were-
Golden Tate. There's a rumor about.
going to go after AJ Green. They were the leader.
I mean,
If I was the New Orleans Saints, I would trade every offensive receiver not named Michael Thomas for AJ Green.
AJ Green's 34 years old.
I don't care. Like
When's he been healthy?
But I mean, like he could be healthy because he doesn't have to be the main guy. Michael Thomas can take the hits.
I would take neck tattoo Robbie Anderson right now. Because I think you can get him for less, and he's younger, and he stays on the field. He just had like 16 touchdowns in the last 2 years. I would
Who's
go.
Golden Tate with?
He's with the Giants.
He's with the Giants now. Yeah, Golden Tate would be a great pickup.
You're hearing some things that they're looking at him, and then you hear some false reports that they're
because,
not.
I mean, like the Giants waving the white flag on this season because obviously Golden Tate's not a future guy for that franchise. So, like, I mean, like, do you want something for Golden Tate? I got a tight end from the Raiders we just signed.
I would trade him.
Seriously.
I would trade him. I mean, because, I don't think Jared Cook's a difference maker right now for this football team. He's proved that throughout the season that he's not a difference maker kind of guy.
How did he have all those catches last year?
Derek Carr liked the tight end.
I mean, just took the check down guy.
Just checked him down.
They were behind a lot in games.
Man, he had a
lot of throw passing. I mean,
we got the Green Bay Jared Cook. Yeah. We didn't get the Oakland Raiders Jared Cook.
That's all right. The Green Bay got the Jimmy Graham.
Who, by the way, is not the New Orleans Saints Jimmy Graham.
Right, exactly.
So, you know what I want? I want what's the young guy that just came off the practice squad that dropped the touchdown pass?
85.
Yeah, Thomas. Is it Thomas? No, he played for the Saints in the playoff. Does anybody remember?
No, our producers don't listen to the show.
They don't. Do they watch sports?
No.
Okay.
No.
So the tight end, the young guy that's slipping my brain.
85.
85.
Saints. Be great
it's going to come to me as soon as the show's over.
Yeah.
So he dropped the touchdown pass last year versus the Rams, right? That we never recovered from.
Mm-hmm.
And he shows flashes of goodness. I mean, he's Jared Cook. Just let him become Jared Cook, right? Just play him, and maybe he'll get better.
You can get him for $500,000.
You can get him for $12 at this point.
He was on the practice squad.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago, he was on the practice squad. So, yeah, get rid of Jared Cook. Get rid of, literally, like you said, everybody except for Michael Thomas. And give me Golden Tate. Give me Robbie Anderson. Just give me another dude to put on the other side of Michael Thomas. Although he really needs nobody right now. But he's going to need somebody in the playoffs.
Let's go back to LSU. The Tigers, 23-20 winners over Auburn. Okay. Once again, I worked free did the CST postgame. I really liked LSU.
What do you mean you worked
10.
free?
Thought the Tigers would cover.
Oh.
Thought the Tigers would cover.
Oh, my gosh.
So here's the thing.
God, did you get tired of that?
You have over 500 yards of offense.
They were up and down the field.
Quarterback throws for over 300.
Up and down the field.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire in his final season, he's going to go pro at the end of this year.
He's good.
He runs for over $130 against Auburn. Over 500 yards of offense, 23 points. That's all they scored.
What do you need, 14 points?
3 points.
You needed was it a 14?
No, I needed them to win by more than 10.
Okay, it was 10.
Okay, so so LSU holds Auburn to under 300 yards. So they almost doubled them up in the yardage. And they only won by 3.
Here's the scary part.
Had to survive an onside kick, which they shouldn't have gotten. It was
19 finally showed up.
And Sullivan pitched the ball.
Dylan poo-pooed the bed the whole game until he recovered that.
Right.
I mean, he cost this team some serious points, field position points. But when he recovered that onside, all forgiven.
Right.
All forgiven at that point.
So anyway, LSU wins. And look, I give credit to Auburn because Nix was not good.
No, he's terrible.
They had when he's a junior or senior, he wins that. I don't know if he wins that game, but he absolutely gives them a chance. They had some real open receivers. He threw the ball high. They had some slants for first down opportunities. He missed the receiver. Give LSU's defense a lot of credit, but at the same time, Auburn offensively needed a quarterback. If they'd have had a quarterback, this game would have been different, and I think LSU would have played it different. They took the foot off the pedal in the fourth quarter where they could have hammered down and probably gotten another touchdown or so.
Maybe.
But they struggled in the red zone for the second week in a row.
Didn't they down the ball? Didn't they have the ball towards the end, or was that the Saints? Did the LSU have the ball towards the end and could have punched a late touchdown in?
No.
Okay.
They
that was the Saints.
Yeah,
the Saints had a late possession side of the team.
But LSU has struggled the last couple of weeks in the red zone. 3 times in the first half against Mississippi State, 3 field goals. This time around, didn't get some points.
Yeah.
Turned the ball over. they need this week off to get right physically, get right mentally, and come up with a new package because Alabama is going to scout them and they're going to know all their tendencies and everything like that.
Oh, they
when
are.
they got 2 weeks when they're down there on
Auburn
the 5-yard line.
was all over their tendencies.
Yeah. So,
and that was Steele, who we fired.
So I don't want to be negative Nancy because at the end of the day, you're 8-0.
You're right there.
Joe Burrow did his part. Threw for over 300 yards, had 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 running. With Oklahoma and Jalen Hurts losing, with Tua not playing, Joe Burrow's the leader, still in the clubhouse for the Heisman. Great for him. But I'm looking at it like win a national championship, and I'm looking at it like beat Alabama. Because if LSU beats Alabama, Joe Burrow wins the Heisman. Like he can go play pedestrian the last couple of games of the season. It's all about beat Alabama, be the number 1 seed, be 12-0. And it doesn't matter the numbers at that point because the numbers will take care of itself. He'll have all the LSU records and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some things that happened the last 2 weeks in Mississippi State and Auburn that give you pause.
Oh, yeah.
With this team. They've got to get some things right, and it starts with moving the football in the red zone and getting touchdowns and not field goals. And, oh, by the way, field goals aren't given now.
If Bo Nix could have somehow become Tua this past week, LSU loses that game at home. Because Auburn came out on fire. Like their pants were on fire. Their intensity level was higher. LSU came out slow. Didn't look like they really were taking Auburn seriously. I think they just kind of sleptwalked through the first few minutes of the game. But it was it jumped off the screen to me that Auburn had a sense of urgency in that football game. LSU has to come out like that in 2 weeks versus out, and I think they will. They're going to come out fired up. This is let me ask you this. If you were Coach Orgeron, how do you approach this Bama game? Do you approach it as if it's just one game, or do you approach it like you have gotten your tail handed to you for 8 straight years by this football team? You've lost 10 in a row to this team. This is our season. This is our championship game. Do you put the pressure on the kids to say it's all or nothing in this game, or is it just another game? It's just another game on the schedule to get to the end game, to our ultimate goal.
They've lost 8 in a row, by the way.
What did I say?
10.
Seems like 10.
It seems like more than 8.
Seems like forever.
Yeah, and even the 2011 game, the 9-6 win, which was epic,
seemed
and
like
amazing.
A loss.
They got. I mean, they got outgained in that game, and if it wasn't for the fact that they had a bad field goal kicker, they win the game. But LSU did make a couple of huge plays: the Reed interception down on the goal line and the Brad Wing punt, which clipped the little cable going over across the field. Was amazing. Those huge plays that flipped everything and helped lead LSU to victory. But that said, I think you got to be the honorary Coach O for the next 2 weeks, right? Like there's no backslapping here. There's no great job to get to 8-0. We've done an amazing things. Blah 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 blah. No, this is all about. Hey, Alabama, grit your teeth, get upset, take out some 10 years of frustration, and go out.
Seems
there
like
and win
10 years
this
to
game.
you too, then.
Right, but the thing about it is that Tua is going to play. We don't know what percentage he'll be at, but
Doesn't
we know
matter.
he's going to play. Last year against LSU, he played with a banged-up knee and a big brace, and I give him tons of credit. Didn't play his best football down the stretch because he played hurt, but he was so tough. And on when I was standing on the sidelines next to him, a couple things stand out. One, the bottom half, his legs, his rear end, all that, they're thick, and I saw him just take shot after shot and get up, and so Tua is a bigger person and a bigger player in person, and he's super tough. And so he's going to give them their best shot. We're going to learn a lot more over the next couple of weeks about the tightrope procedure he had, the surgery on his ankle. Never heard of that until in the last 365 days. But look, LSU's hasn't done anything yet, and I hope that.
What do you mean they haven't done anything?
They haven't done anything yet from a standpoint of they're 8-0. They've had a great year, but if you lose this game,
it's not over.
The playoff committee is going to want to do everything it can to put champions into the playoffs. They do
Unlike in the past,
they do not want to have one-loss teams that don't win their division.
Well, there's only 5.
It's different when you got a Georgia and an Alabama and they both won a division and one beat the other in a championship game. That's different.
So then you're going to put Georgia
when you
in?
got a team, no. I'm saying when you got a team that doesn't win a division, doesn't play in a championship game.
Kind of like Alabama did when they went to the
That's a harder sell.
like Alabama did.
That's a difference. A BCS back then. You know, this is playoffs, Joel. If you haven't noticed, is that they went to the playoffs.
Well, here's the deal.
Even
if they lose,
listen
to me. Even if they lose to Alabama, Alabama still has to play that good Auburn team. That's a good Auburn team. And, you know, there's no guarantee that Alabama beats Auburn. They're going to beat everybody else by double digits. By the way, you should bet on them. What is wrong with you betting on LSU? Bet on Alabama. Just bet on Alabama every week.
Alabama covered this week, but they don't cover
Just do it anyway.
Most of the big games where they're like 50-point favorites, they don't cover because Nick takes the air out of the ball in the third, fourth quarter.
Yeah, well. So at the end of the day, you lose a lot of money, and you should not bet on LSU because you never know what you're going to get, what box of chocolates you're going to get on that Saturday. I never felt 100% comfortable about this Auburn game. It's because it's right before the Alabama game. It's not only that, it's right before a bye week. Man, it's hard to not look at that as a player. I mean, it's just human nature to look down the line. And a coach can say everything he wants to say, but at the end of the day, these are humans, and they're looking forward to the next game or to even that bye week and going, what did Hilaire say he was going to go do? He's going fishing?
Going hunting.
He's going hunting. He's going hunting, not duck hunting because that's illegal. He's going to go shoot some squirrels or something, he said. But at the end of the day, he's been looking forward to that. I'm going to get through this game. I'm going hunting. Can't wait to do whatever that they were going to do. They're looking forward to it. And then we got Alabama. So it's human nature to look past Auburn, and I hate that Auburn had to come in that game. I wish it would have been Mississippi State and Auburn had been last week.
I don't buy that they were looking past Auburn.
Come on, bro.
Not in that environment. 2:30 game. They knew how good Auburn was.
Oh, dude. No, I'm not saying they didn't, but it's still human nature to look past it, dude. I'm not saying they're studying Alabama's tendencies. I'm just saying it's hard to get up for that game as much as you need to.
So you're not saying they were looking past it, but you're saying they were looking past it.
Pretty much. Human nature says they're looking past it.
He's Joel Davis. You can tell he's never played the team sports. Sports Shorts will be back right after this. When we come back, we'll talk some New Orleans Saints and Drew Brees. Did Drew Brees force his way onto the field yesterday? I think so. I think Sean Payton did want him to play yesterday. I'll tell you why. Plus, coming up, we'll have Nolan Cain of LSU baseball, and we'll talk with Jacob Hester about the big LSU-Alabama matchup. All that. Sports Shorts presented by LeBears.
Politicians are making things way more complicated than necessary. The priorities are pretty simple. Fix our roads and bridges so people can get to work, school, and back home safely. Protect TOPS, technical schools, make our classrooms smarter, safer. Put the focus in healthcare back on care. And it's time for a 21st century jobs plan. It's not complicated.
Gus Rance is right. It's not complicated. Gus Rance for State Representative.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts. Ronnie Rance here with you. Sports Shorts presented by LeBaer's Casino. Ronnie Rance, Joel Davis here with you. Go by Woodhaven Furniture Company on Government Street. Tell them you heard it right here on Sports Shorts.
Huge tent sale this weekend. This Friday and Saturday, Ron.
Well, by the way, this show's going to air for a couple of weeks prior to.
Can I say the dates?
Say the date, sure.
Okay, November 1st and 2nd. Friday and Saturday, November 1st and November 2nd. The day after Halloween and the Saturday following Halloween. Huge tent sale, Ron. Up to 75% off on lots of things.
So, all right, let's talk some New Orleans Saints.
Don't send Buzzy.
No, Buzzy would come and he'd beat you up on the tent sale.
I could be 75% off. Right.
Right. So let's talk some New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, your reaction to him playing. I think he forced his way on. I thought the press conference last week at the end of the game on Sunday, Sean Payton said no, he's not going to play. He said on CST he was going to play, and then midweek he's there at practice holding court in front of his locker, showing the all the media how he holds the football. That was an impromptu deal. I think he forced his way on when probably Sean Payton was like, look, let's just go one more week with Teddy. Then we got the off week. There's no reason to do this. Do you agree?
Yeah, but I think what's the best part about the whole deal was when Drew was coming off the field after they won the game, and he's doing his thumb like this the whole way off the field, heading to the other sideline to talk to the other team. And I mean, he's constantly working out. He's constantly preparing for the game. He's constantly preparing mentally, physically, everything you can imagine. He's constantly preparing, even after the game, as he's twiddling his thumb to work it out. The dude is the greatest quarterback in our generation. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to even put him ahead of Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady's got 9 Super Bowl appearances in his 20-year career. That means he goes every other year, and he's got 6 championships. Because look at the teams Tom Brady has had to prepare for. First of all, he's got a coach that's a defensive-minded coach with Buffalo, Miami, and the Jets. 3 turds for the last 20 years. That's who he's been competing with.
Right.
Yearly.
And
that's 6 wins.
Usually one of those 3 will be decent that year. And this year it's Buffalo.
Ronnie, the last time a team was good in that division was Sparano when he was running the Wildcat with, I think, Ricky Williams.
Ronnie Brown.
It was unbelievable.
Right.
That's the last time I think that there was anybody else in the Patriots that won that division.
I think Tannehill led him to the playoff wild card one year or something. But
Would you say the wild card? The wild card. The wild card.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, nobody's won a division, but I mean,
dude,
I'm talking about
the Patriots have owned the AFC
they're always
because
going to have 2 layups for sure.
And they're never going to have to play a wild card game. They're going to automatically be in a division final game. So they got to win 2 to get to the Super Bowl. I mean, let's just say this: if the Saints were able to play in the playoffs every other year for the last 20 years with Drew Brees and Sean Payton together, right? You're telling me that they wouldn't have more? I'm not saying they'd have 9. I'm not saying they'd have 9 or 8 appearances, whatever. But they sure in heck would have a lot more than 3 NFC championship appearances. I can promise you that. And one Super Bowl. Because they would have, just because Drew Brees is that good. He's gonna will his teams to win. But he's had to go on the road in a wild card game to Seattle one year against, I mean, that's the types of stuff. Man, that's why Tom Brady has only had to be in half the Super Bowls in his because he's always playing a division championship before when he wakes up every year. Every year he's gonna be in a division championship game. At home, probably. So, that's why I'm going to put Drew Brees as the greatest quarterback of our generation.
Here we go.
Because it's just a different scenario, bro. It's a different scenario.
Listen, I'll buy.
He's had the turds for defenses for 10 years.
You had me with.
Come on.
Drew. Tom Brady's had it easy in that division because usually the Jets or the Buffalo or the Dolphins, at least 2 of the 3 are hot garbage each year. So that's like 4
3
wins.
of the 3.
Okay.
3 of the 3 are hot garbage.
The New England has struggled in Miami.
Musa,
New England has struggled in Miami. They've lost games in Miami a lot over the last few years.
Oh, my God.
You want me to look that up?
Yeah, look that up.
How many games you think New England's lost in Miami in the last 10 years?
5. No, in the last 10 years or in 20 years?
I'm saying in the last 5, 6 times to Miami.
Years.
Yeah, but you're telling me that they get free wins and they go 6-0 every year.
Right.
They don't.
How many times has Miami won in New England?
That 2 of the 3 teams that
Tom
they play
Brady
in their
is
division
118-18 in New England in his career. 118-18.
But he's not the greatest quarterback of all time, according to you just now.
No, I'm telling you,
Drew
he's
Brees
an easy.
is. You're such a homer.
He didn't have to play. He doesn't have to play Matt Ryan, Cam Newton over the last 10 years.
So what? You telling me that Tom Brady's just easily made his way to the Super Bowl?
He's also got the greatest coach of all time.
Give me a break.
He's also got the greatest coach
Give me a break.
of all
Drew Brees
time.
last year had a chance, regardless of the penalty, to put the Saints in the Super Bowl. He didn't. At home.
And
I love Drew Brees. Second greatest quarterback of all time.
Tom Brady lost to Peyton Manning, too, by an interception. I remember that one as well. So it happens. He's had 5 times the opportunities that Drew Brees has had. Just saying, man. Has he had a dominant
defense?
defense?
Drew Brees has been in an NFC Championship game 3 times.
3
He's
times.
1-2. And it took a Brett Favre brain fart for that to happen. For him not to win that game.
And is that Drew Brees' fault?
No.
Or is that maybe his crappy defense?
He's 1-2.
Crappy defense.
He's 1-2 in the playoffs.
And I give Hester a lot of credit for why they lost to the Chicago.
2011, greatest team the Saints have had, according to you.
Yeah, because they had a terrible defense, and I think Sammy Knight was playing safety for them. It was horrible.
But for you to insult
that was the
Tom
beginning
Brady
of that was the beginning of the worst.
You are unbelievable.
Career in the worst defensive performance for like 7 years was 2011. The next 4 years they didn't have a defense at all. They didn't have a defense that year. Thank you, Alex Smith. They lost Alex Smith, and they had to go to San Francisco.
Yeah, but they were so good, though, they weren't one of the top 2 teams in the NFC because they had to go on the road.
I will give credit to Tom Brady beating Kansas City at Kansas City last year. That was big time.
By the way, speaking of Tom Brady, the report came out last week from ESPN.
Bill Belichick.
That the ESPN was reporting that Tom Brady will either retire, but he will not be back in New England next year. He'll be playing for somebody else or retire when the season's over.
He's going to retire then.
He had a press conference last week, and he dodged the question. He had a chance to say, that's ridiculous. I am going to end my career in a New England Patriots uniform. I'm either going to retire, but I will never play for another team, which I guarantee you Drew Brees will say.
Yeah, but I mean...
And Tom Brady didn't. He went on with it's media. They're trying to make money. It's a business.
Fool. He is a fool if he leaves New England because if he goes goes anywhere else and he falters and you don't see the same Tom Brady, everybody's going to be like, they're going to give all the credit to Bill Belichick. Does he really want to have that happen to himself? If he goes, let's say he goes, where was he going to go, first of all?
Well, he's a California guy. We could maybe go back home.
To who?
I don't know.
The Oakland Raiders?
I don't know.
San Diego's about to move to St. Louis. I mean, San Diego. I said San Diego. They're in Los Angeles now. But, dude.
That's what your sources are saying?
Yeah.
You've got sources that they're going to get out of Los Angeles. By the way, the new stadium's coming and all that. But they're going to move to St. Louis.
I heard they're looking at St. Louis.
According to Joel's sources.
They're playing in a hockey rink right now.
Soccer. Playing in a soccer.
Yeah, I thought it was hockey.
Soccer stadium.
By the way, Melvin Gordon is ruining my fantasy league because he came back. He's taking touches away from Eckler. Eckler was scoring 25 and 30 points a week until Melvin Gordon decided to show back up to camp. He doesn't even want to be there, but they're using him a little bit because they're paying him. And I went from 30 points a game. I'm getting like maybe 15 now. Thanks, Melvin Gordon. Could you please go away? I don't want him to hurt anything. I just want him to go away.
All right, before we let you go, the New Orleans Saints are they have the week off. LSU's got the week off. We got the 2 weeks.
Who did that? Saints and LSU.
I know.
Absurd. I should go to Indonesia now.
Why? Exactly. Bad planning. You should. It allows you to. Every wedding in the world is this weekend. If you're thinking about getting married, Every wedding is this weekend. They're double booking them. You got one at lunch. They got one at dinner. Might even have an afternoon wedding. And you're paying through the nose because, if you want a vacation, get it in. Whatever you got to do. That honey-do list, do it this weekend.
Right.
But here's the thing.
Unless you're smart and you get married during the preseason like Joel Davis did, which is the smartest thing.
You don't ever celebrate your anniversary anyway other than like a dinner at Rotolo's. But let me ask you this.
How'd you know that?
Teddy Bridgewater, moving forward, is he the guy? Drew Brees says at the end of the year, this is it.
Yeah.
Do you go Teddy Bridgewater based on the 5 games that he played? Saints fans gave him an ovation. Saints fans were loving on him. Thank you, Teddy. Did he show you do enough to where you go, you know what? For the value, he's my guy moving forward.
Value. That's the key. The value. Depends on what you pay him and what you can get around him. But, I mean, he's not going to go and win you game. Now, I'm very impressed with Teddy. I told you this on the radio show that I went and watched each game twice. You're more impressed with him the second time you watch him. I'm sitting here thinking yesterday, right now, how hot is Teddy Bridgewater's name? That name is so hot. I would hate to be in a situation that Mickey Loomis and Sean Payton are in right now because, they're fielding phone calls. People are probably throwing first and second round draft picks at him right now, thinking, hey, we could use a quarterback. We could use a franchise signal caller. We'll give you a first. We'll give you a second. And they're thinking, this guy just got us through what would the fans say? I mean, it's PR at this point. I mean, is a number one worth? I mean, here's what's going to happen. They take the number one, and then Drew blows out his thumb next week. And then they got a number one and Taysom Hill's playing quarterback. Or number 2, they decide to keep him, not get the number one. Drew retires after the Super Bowl, and Teddy becomes a turd again.
I don't think they get a number one for Teddy Bridgewater.
Why wouldn't they?
I don't think.
As hungry as teams are, they paid a number one overall for for Trubisky.
Yeah, but everybody always loves the young guy because they always.
Teddy's 25.
They put the ceiling. They always have the ceiling. Teddy's got a low ceiling. He's a manager. He's a great backup, and he's a bottom 10 to 12 quarterback in the league. All right, he's Joel Davis. He's out. Go check him out on the Red Zone Beat when we come back. Nolan Kane, we'll talk to him about LSU baseball, get a little quick update about the top 10 ranked Tigers, and we'll visit with Jacob Hester. Will join us next.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau St. Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Politicians are making things way more complicated than necessary. The priorities are pretty simple. Fix our roads and bridges so people can get to work, school, and back home safely. Protect TOPS, technical schools, make our classrooms smarter, safer. Put the focus in healthcare back on care. And it's time for a 21st century jobs plan. It's not complicated.
Gus Rance is right. It's not complicated. Gus Rance for State Representative.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess.
And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBears Casino. Ronnie Rance here with you in the studio. We're going to visit with Jacob Hester in a little bit. Coming up, talk some LSU football as the Tigers get ready for the big Alabama game. Right now, let's go. As I drop my headphones, live TV, you got to love it. Let's go to the phone line right now. Let's bring in Nolan Cain, LSU baseball assistant coach. The Tigers with a little baseball here in the fall. And the cool thing about baseball nowadays, you get to play a couple of games. They played UNO this past Sunday. They've got the Colonels down in Thibodaux. So you get a little fall action. Of course, LSU will be highly ranked again this year. We bring in Nolan Cain to get an update on where the Tigers are right now. How are you, Nolan?
Doing great. How are you, Ronnie?
Doing fantastic. Give the folks out there just a little brief rundown. How did the scrimmage go against UNO? How many innings? What was the score? And some of the key contributors.
Yeah, it ended up being a good day for us. You know, the biggest thing is just getting these new guys, the freshmen, the JUCO transfers, just kind of acclimated to what a game day is like, right? You know, I mean, we've got a third baseman named Zach Mathis that played at San Joaquin Delta Community College up in Northern California. There were more people in the stands last night than he probably played in front of his whole career over there, you know? So just getting guys used to getting to the field a little bit earlier, you know, getting there working on their own, you know, what that BP game day is like, you know, in and out, all that stuff. So just the little small things that make a scrimmage, you know, against another team where you're trying to replicate it like a game day, make it different than just a normal practice day for us. But it was a good day. I mean, we had 25 pitch counts for both teams in the inning, so nobody stressed their pitching too much, and both sides had to roll an inning or two, stuff like that. But real encouraging on the pitching side. I mean, we had 10 total innings pitched. You know, we only walked 4 guys, and we had 12 Ks. AJ Labus started us off. He's been pitching fantastic, coming off that little bit of a shoulder surgery he had last year where he redshirted, and, you know, been probably our best pitcher on the team this fall. I mean, he's 89, 92, touching 93 yesterday. Really had that slider going in the mid-80s. You know, Cole Henry, he went out there and kind of did his thing, you know, working 92, 95, and he's been really working on just the off-speed, you know, the curveball and changeup command this year, and it really has taken a step forward this fall. Landon Marceau looked great. You know, he's even working on another pitch, more of a slider than working off that big 12-6 breaking ball he had, just something that's a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller, something that he can dump in the zone more often. He punched out the side yesterday and looked great. And, you know, a young guy here, a kid named Jacob Hasty that's from the Dallas area, left-handed pitcher. He's pitched well this fall, but yesterday, you know, he was a little juiced up and was, you know, 91, 94. He's got a big-time breaking ball. Just getting that fastball command, you know, the breaking ball is a real killer pitch, a real swing and miss pitch. And just having enough fastball command to just get the fastball over the white to get to that breaking ball, he did great. And, you know, some sophomores, a kid, Chase Costello, that, you know, had a few outings last year. He worked, he pitched well yesterday, not fantastic, but the stuff was there, and we were encouraged with that. And then your veterans, Beck and Hilliard and Vittmeyer, pitched fantastic and did what you thought they would do. Real encouraged with some of the young position players. You know, Salvo Garza, he's been out for the fall. You know, Alex Milazzo and Hayden Travinsky, both freshman catchers, are going to have great careers here. They did a very good job of, you know, catching with a new pitcher coming in every inning, right? So it's different stuff. It's different sign systems. They kept the flow of the game going. They did great. Milazzo even clicked on a home run to left field yesterday, his first of the fall. So it was really, really encouraging. And, we didn't have, Garza or Cabrera really playing or anything. We've got a freshman named Zach Arnold that's a shortstop that unfortunately broke a rib a couple of weeks ago, so he's been out for the fall. He's a shortstop that got drafted out of high school, so he's missed some time. But really encouraged with the way the fall is progressing as we start to wind down here.
Talking with Nolan Cain, you mentioned a bunch of pitchers, and good to hear. The Labus story's great all of last year, and Cole Henry, as great as he was, he's back healthy, and that's a big one. Hill, did you mention him? What's the status of his recovery? He got off to the great start last February, and then we didn't see him again.
Yeah, he's thrown 5 or 6 bullpens. He looks great. I mean, there's even been a couple of times in the bullpens where they're like, "Hey, man, let's just let it rip here," and 295 in a bullpen. So he's well on his way to recovering. It looks like he always has been a strike thrower since we recruited him. So he's filling it up, feeling good, bouncing back well. So that's really encouraging. I think there may be a chance for him to pitch in a scrimmage down the road towards the end of the fall, maybe the Purple Gold World Series, maybe for an inning or something like that. But really encouraged with the way he's progressing. And we're just trying to bring him along slowly, right? There's no reason to, have a flare-up in the fall. But his body looks great. He's stronger than ever, and he's built like a middle linebacker. So you get him, you get Stores back, you add those guys possibly in the rotation or into the bullpen. It just deepens up this whole pitching staff, which will, the more the better, right? Especially with the way the game's gone the last couple of years, using more relievers, more hard throwers, stuff like that. So we're encouraged with where those guys are at.
Real quick before we let you go, we'll have you back on after the fall and talk more in depth about this team. But we know about Daniel Cabrera. We know he'll be kind of the face of the offense next year. But a guy who at least got off to a really good start to his fall, driving the ball out the ballpark, was Drew Bianco. And he's a guy who really struggled last year but came on the last couple of weeks of the season. How has he gotten better from a year ago, and has he been able to stay hot all fall?
Well, I think last year, you're Mike Bianco's son. You're wearing number 5. You're in purple and gold. The expectations are through the roof. And, he started the first game of the year last year. Opening night, he's starting at first base, and he had a really good fall and spring scrimmages. And then, you don't get a hit. And then your next at bat, you don't get a hit. And then it just starts to snowball on these young kids a little bit. And then all of a sudden they're trying to hit an 8-run homer that doesn't exist
Sure.
to win their way back into the lineup. And I think what we've seen Drew do is, first of all, Eddie Smith has been spectacular. He's awesome. But really just getting through just the mental side of like, hey, man, there's the whole field and you're strong and you're going to drive. You're going to hit your homers, but, wear out that right center field gap in BP every day. And that's your approach. And if you catch something to click out in front, you're going to hit a homer. He's hit 5 homers this fall. I think we've hit maybe like 15 or 16 as a team this fall, which is probably more than the last 2 years combined in the fall scrimmages. He had a double yesterday. He's really done a great job turning himself into a really good left fielder. So, but with Drew, everybody knows you're buying the bat, and he's made those strides that we want to see, and just need to see him continue to finish up and have a strong end of the fall. And another kid, Gavin Dugas, he's learning a new position. He hit a 2-run homer yesterday. He's really played well. He's been an on-base machine, drawing walks, getting hit by pitches. Driving the ball. He's got 2 or 3 homers this fall, handful of doubles, but he's really turned himself into a good outfielder as well. So with the infielders that we brought in this class, it just created more depth there, so it gives more opportunities for guys at other positions.
Nolan, thanks for the time. Appreciate it. We'll be watching you on CST this Sunday, LSU at Nichols, 1 o'clock game. Looking forward to it. Good luck down there.
Sounds great. Thanks for having me on.
All right, there's Nolan Cain with LSU Baseball. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll have Jacob Hester. But as we go to break, we're going to play you a little video. If you haven't followed SEC Shorts, give them a follow on social media, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Fantastic stuff. And they had a great little video that they put out over the weekend about the LSU's dominance over Auburn in Tiger Stadium.
Hello?
Who is this?
You called me.
Yeah, I know.
Well, if you don't know who this is, then why'd you call?
Because I want to know whose schedule I'm looking at.
What did you say?
Only one win against a top 25 team. That won't do.
Duke was good when we scheduled them.
Well, they're not good now.
The AP poll isn't even used in the playoff selection criteria, so goodbye. Hello.
Do you like 2:30 kickoffs?
They're okay, I guess. Not as good as evening. Why?
I like evening kickoffs too, but then again, I've been doing pretty good in the 2:30 time slot this year.
Who is this?
Look out your front window.
I don't see anything, and this isn't funny. I have 4 All-American wide receivers who will tear you up. Goodbye.
Don't you hang up on me!
What do you want?
Turn the TV on.
What?
Turn it on!
And this just in, we have a new #1 team in the nation. LSU has jumped Alabama and is now #1 in the AP poll.
Leave me alone! What do you want?
Look out your front window again.
Renaissance Bank, the best bank in the South. Visit renaissancebank.com to learn more.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Politicians are making things way more complicated than necessary. The priorities are pretty simple. Fix our roads and bridges so people can get to work, school, and back home safely. Protect TOPS, technical schools, make our classrooms smarter, safer. Put the focus in healthcare back on care. And it's time for a 21st century jobs plan. It's not complicated.
Gus Rance is right. It's not complicated. Gus Rance for State Representative.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG, and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess. And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.
Can't get enough sports shorts? Tune into Sports Shorts TV on Cox HD Channel 1013 Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9, and ETEL Channel 4. That's 52 weeks a year to get educated on sports by the best. Joel Davis and Ronnie Rance.
Welcome back, everybody, to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino. Special thanks to Joel Davis. We had Nolan Kane on. Now we bring in the big man, Jacob Hester, host of Hanging with Hester, Monday through Fridays on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. How are you, Jacob?
I'm glad I could class this place up. Every time I come in, you've got a suit on. Mikey Matuk had a suit on a week ago. I come in with the Nike running shirt that I worked out in earlier.
Good. At least I can't smell it from here. So I think I'm a little congested. That has nothing to do with the shirt. All right, so tell me about let's talk LSU Auburn first before we get to Alabama. LSU wins 23-20. It's the strangest game because they pretty much outgained them 2-1. Had over 500 yards of offense. You had the running back go for $1. You had a quarterback go for 300. But yet you were an onside kick, and it looked like they were going to get it for a minute. You were an onside kick away from maybe losing that game.
Yeah, we really need to teach hands teams in Louisiana. Yes. It's kind of been a struggle the last couple of weeks, but it was a game LSU dominated. I mean, you just said all the stats and the first downs, and you can point to the yards. And it was a game that if Auburn would have won the game, it probably would have been the least deserving win of all time, just because it felt like LSU dominated the game. But Auburn took advantage of their chances, right? The Stingley fumble, they get the ball there, and they score on 4th down. And LSU had a couple of mishaps there on the goal line. You get shut out, turnover on downs. Right before the half, you get to the 2-yard line. You can't punch it in, so you settle for a field goal. Joe threw an interception on the goal line as well. And so all those start to add up. I mean, you're talking about big-time point swings. It looked like, when LSU got the ball back after going up 7-3, maybe they were on a drive. You get a personal foul there, backs you up 15 yards, slows you down a little bit. But LSU did enough to win the football game. They were dominant, so they still look good in a win that was extremely close. And I know when you look at the stats, doesn't probably tell the whole story, but you got to start taking some advantages of those chances, right? That's the one thing. If you're nitpicking, short yard situations and, on the goal line, your 3rd and 1s, your 4th and 1s, all those, probably something that you want to work on for these next 2 weeks.
When you talk about RPO teams, that's always the struggle, right? Is that when you got to get tight down inside the 5, when you got to get that 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, can you convert from being this offensive line that's used to being, can't go too far down the line because I don't want to be, illegal man downfield. And the other thing is, as much as I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we got some bigger backs. We've got some other guys, we haven't even seen a Curry, but we've got 3 back there. Yeah. We got other guys that are bigger, more physical, that if we are just going to simply run an A-gap dive, let's put a guy that's 30, 40 pounds heavier.
There's a couple things, and one is Ty Davis-Price, after he got the personal foul, went and sat on the bench for a while.
Right.
I mean, that was a message from the coaching staff, obviously. And the other thing is, you don't substitute. And so if Clyde's in there and he gets you down there, it's hard to get in and out when you're running the offense, the up-tempo offense that LSU's running. No longer do you huddle. So maybe do you take a look at it and say, okay, we're not going to try to catch the defense off guard anymore. We're going to substitute, bring some bigger guys in, bring a Torrey Carter in, bring a Ty Davis-Price in. You could do something like that. And also, it was the opponent you're playing this week. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the toughest defensive line in the country as far as defensive tackle, defensive ends, and the size, and really as a group. Now, there might be better individual players, Chase Young at Ohio State, but as a group, they're the best in the country, in my opinion. And you might see some different things because if you take the time to huddle up, you can bring in – you still have a fullback in Torrey Carter. You still have a blocking tight end in Thad Moss that can do some things. I'm not saying get in the I formation, but you can do some other things outside of run out of shotgun. So I would assume in the next 2 weeks you'll see something a little bit different. And it's something that you don't want it to cost you a game for sure because you're so close. In the last 2 weeks, you've had to settle for field goals when they've been so good this entire year scoring touchdowns.
Yeah, I don't love the RPO when you get down there inside the 10-yard line because you're so limited in what you can do. And if you go fast, the defense, not 90% of the time you're handing the ball off anyway.
Right.
If you go super quick inside the 10. And then what do? You don't have any space to throw the ball. So, it's a very risky throw. So, I like the idea of the different packages. I'm sure LSU is going to self-scout out the Yazoo over the next 2 weeks to get ready for Alabama because they know that Alabama's going to do the same thing and they're going to have all the reads. So you're going to see some totally different packages and totally different things that they do against Alabama inside the red zone. But that is a point of concern, no question about it. The other point of concern is the field goal. kicking. Coach Joe's backed York, to this point and said, hey, he's our guy. Cole Tracy said all kind of good things about York. He's only a freshman. We know he's a super recruit. But field goal kicking, heck, at the NFL level, it's not just a college thing. Yeah. The NFL, it's so cerebral from a standpoint of one bad kick, you can be bad for 3 games.
Yeah. It's the closest thing in football to being a golfer. I mean, it really is. One bad hit off the tee and the rest of your day's ruined. And they did have a missed extra point in this one. It looked like it was more of a hold situation. Zach Von Rosenberg looked like he was patting his chest saying, hey, that is on me. And so he did make his field goal. He made his extra points when they were held in the right position, not like the watermelon style in Pee Wee football like that one was. But he got a little bit back on track this week. Obviously, last week was tough for him. Missed extra point, hit a field goal off the bar there, uprights. It ended up going in, but still you could tell that he was overthinking it, probably changing his technique a little bit. And look, these games that you have coming up, it's going to come down to something like that, because this game we all assume is going to be a shootout. Mm-hmm. Well, you want to make all your extra points. You want as many points as you can in a shootout. It's not going to be a 9-6 game. It's not going to be anything like that, but it's going to be one of those games that a point matters somewhere.
Do we know anything as of us sitting here regarding Grant Delpit? Grant Delpit left the ball game. Of course, LSU, tight-lipped beyond belief when it comes to injuries. And I don't know if we'll know if Grant Delpit's going to play until the end of next week. Yeah. But do we have an idea of what he hurt, first off?
It looked like lower leg. I don't know if it's knee, calf, ankle. It didn't look like a hamstring. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's maybe better news. He was walking around. Obviously, if it was a hamstring, those are tough to come back from when you're a skill guy like Grant Delpit. And so I honestly wouldn't pay attention to it until next Tuesday. Now, if Grant Delpit doesn't practice on next Tuesday of game week,
when you've had a week and change to heal,
that's when you start to worry. If he doesn't practice this week, he shouldn't maybe, right? I mean, this is no reason. You have 2 bye weeks. This week, everyone assumes when you have a bye week that you're getting ready for Alabama for 2 weeks. That's not the case. That first week, like you mentioned earlier, that's self-scout. That's how can we improve on what we've been doing wrong. That's getting some other guys involved in the practice so those starters can get some rest as well, because then you've got that next week to practice for Alabama. Now, the coaches are grinding Alabama, so it's not that. They're scouting Alabama. They're getting a game plan together all week long. But the players, they're working on themselves. They're working on what can we do better when, things like the goal line situations that we're talking about. Okay, who didn't block their assignment? Who didn't do their job? Those things, that's what they're working on this week.
Joe Burrow, with Tua not playing, with Oklahoma losing, even though Jalen Hurts had a big game and put up big numbers, they lost. In my opinion, if LSU beats Alabama on November 9th, I don't really care the stat line. If LSU beats Alabama, goes 12-0, Joe Burrow is going to win the Heisman because he's going to have enough numbers at the end of the year. It all will be records for LSU and maybe even some SEC records. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. He could be 15 of 20 for 180 and a touchdown if they win the football game. I agree with you there. That doesn't matter because of everything he's already done. The stats are built up. I mean, they're gaudy stats. I mean, second in the country in passing yards, number 1 in completion percentage, 30 touchdowns already. So we know all those numbers are already there. You just got to win this game, in my opinion. And there's some other guys still involved in this race. Justin Fields at Ohio State, Chase Young at Ohio State.
You think he really a defensive guy? 4 sacks.
He's getting some love.
He really put himself in there.
I mean, he's got 13.5 right now. So you're talking about a guy that could touch 20 sacks this year by the end of the season. So will a defensive guy win the Heisman? Probably not, but I think he'll be in New York. And so Jalen Hurts, anytime you take a loss like that, you take a step back. I'm not saying he can't get back in this thing, but Joe Burrow wins this game with the teams he has left and the defenses that he has left. He's got every opportunity to put it away almost next game against Alabama.
You can check out Hanging with Hester Monday through Fridays from 1 to 3 on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. And if you're not in the Baton Rouge area and you're watching us, download the 104.5 ESPN app on one of your smartphones and give them a lesson. How about
I could take some lessons.
How about a listen and
I
a lesson?
I can take some hitting lessons. I can take, maybe
Traction's
some.
not a sponsor of the show. We don't do that.
I was talking golf.
All right, Jacob, thank you, man. Appreciate it. November 9th, the big one, LSU, Alabama. He and I will be there. You can check us out on CST for the postgame. Thanks to Joel Davis and Nolan Kane. Go Tigers and Saints. Have a good week, everybody.
Politicians are making things way more complicated than necessary. The priorities are pretty simple. Fix our roads and bridges so people can get to work, school, and back home safely. Protect TOPS, technical schools, make our classrooms smarter, safer. Put the focus in healthcare back on care. And it's time for a 21st century jobs plan. It's not complicated.
Gus Rance is right. It's not complicated. Gus Rance for State Representative.
If you're an avid sports fan, then you need to check out the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame, located in historic downtown Natchitoches, next to the Chateau Saint Denis Hotel and the Natchitoches Convention Center. The Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame is where the rich history of Louisiana sports is told through the pictures, artifacts, and by the legends themselves in video archives. Come to the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame and Northwest Louisiana History Museum and visit a world-renowned architectural marvel. For more information and to purchase tickets to the annual Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame events, visit lasportshall.com/purchase.
Introducing the Mercedes-Benz family of vans, including the full-size Sprinter and the mid-size Metris. If these are your wingtips, if this is your gourmet latte, then these are your vans. Vans for professionals. Strictly professionals. Best commercial van residual value according to ALG and starting at just $25,995. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to...
When you come to Relief Windows, your experience starts here.
Or here.
Then we come to your home.
We measure twice.
And then we bring custom windows to your home.
We remove your old windows. Install your new windows.
Clean our mess. And we make sure you're completely satisfied.
And all of this before you pay a dime. And at Relief Windows, our #1 product is customer satisfaction.